So this week's news is going to be on home ownership and how it can help shield you from inflation. So we'll look at some historical data a little later on how inflation versus home prices has performed over the last 50 years or so. But let's dive in. So if you've been following along with the news today, you've likely heard about the rising inflation. You're feeling an impact on your day-to-day life as prices on things like gas, groceries, products, services, cars, and pretty much anything that you're buying right now. You're feeling a pinch on your wallet from inflation. So what I want to look at today is see if homeownership is still a worthwhile endeavor for you. If you've been thinking about purchasing a home this year, you're probably wondering if you should continue down that path based on inflation, also interest rates rising. But I'm going to tell you today on how homeownership can help combat you with the rising costs with inflation. So inflation is going to affect things like goods and services, like we talked about before. So as a buyer of a new home, it can actually help you hedge against inflation. So the answer lies in homeownership. People have seen huge equity gains in their properties, especially if they bought within the last couple of years. And that is going to help them hedge against inflation. It's not going to be a dollar for dollar in your pocket versus what you're paying for groceries. But as you build equity in your home, there's different things that you can do, like take out a line of credit against the house. You can do a cash out refinance. There's a lot of options to pull some cash out should you need it, or should you want to do something with it to invest it. So it gives you a lot more options. So a fixed rate mortgage allows you to maintain the biggest portion of housing expenses at the same payment. Property taxes are going to rise, insurance is going to rise, but your mortgage payment, including your principal and interest over whatever term you have, say 30 years, is going to stay the same. So even as inflation continues to rise, you're locking in that payment now. So although interest rates have gone up from the all-time low that they were at, within the last couple of years, the interest rates we have today are not much higher than they were, say, in 2008, 2009, and for some time before that. They're actually average interest rates. So that's going to help you lock that in. So over the long term, you're going to win. Short term, you're gonna have a locked-in payment, and you're not gonna have your rent going up and down, not knowing how much it's gonna cost for you to live. So in inflationary times, it's especially important to invest your money in assets that traditionally hold and grow in value. One of those things is homes. So let's look at this graph. So home ownership, a hedge against inflation. This graph shows home price appreciation versus the consumer price increases over the last about 52 years. So as you can see in blue, the inflation rate is here. In the 70s, it was 7.1%. The home price appreciation in that same time period was about 9.9%. So to kind of put this into perspective, over the last 52 years, if you added all these together, it's about a 25.5% increase between home price appreciation and price increases. So home prices have appreciated 25.5% more than the inflation rate over the last 52 years. So historically, buying a home makes sense. Lock in your mortgage, lock in your interest rate, and at least have one stable payment in your life. So this is also going to help you build your equity and your net worth. So as your equity grows in your house, your net worth also grows, and it also gives you, like I said before, gives you purchasing power to do things with that equity in your house to further grow your net worth. If you want to talk a little bit more about that, I'm definitely open to doing that. It's something that I'm doing myself. So this should give you some peace of mind that buying a home over the long term, it's a strong investment. So if you're ready to buy a home, it makes sense to move forward with your plans despite rising inflation, in my opinion. If you want some more advice on how to win in this market and make sure you're making a good purchase, remember who you work with matters, and I'm always here to help. So let's connect when you're ready, and I hope everyone has a fantastic week.